Welcome to the Reticle Up podcast, where I, Three Gun Kenzie, will be interviewing competitive shooters, hunters, fishermen, archers, entrepreneurs, and outdoorsmen. Come learn with me as I interview people from all walks of life, in different disciplines, all across the world, from novices to professionals of all ages. No matter what, everyone has something they can teach you, so come join me on the journey. Hey everyone, I am here this week with Rob Hall. He's a three-gun competitive shooter, a pistol instructor, and he helps run the TAC-2 three-gun USPSA matches in Greenville, Tennessee. You've probably had him as an RO because that's what he does all the time. Rob, how are you doing tonight?
I'm wonderful, Kenzie. How are you?
I'm good. Okay, we're gonna start this off with a bang, or shall we say a DQ, because that's how we met.
That it is.
You know, I've been having shooters share their DQ stories so we can have something to relate to, right? But why don't you go ahead and share your first or your DQ there?
Well, I have to back up a little bit there because technically, when we first met was when I DQ'd you at the same match.
Start there.
So it was it 2019?
2019.
Three-Gun Nation Nationals down at Holt. The first stage of the match, your pistol came out of your holster and I had to DQ you.
9 shots, guys. 9 shots with the shotgun. So excited for my first major and didn't even get to a second firearm.
Yeah. And as an RO, one of the worst feelings in the world is having to DQ somebody. Yeah, I know that a lot of ROs get a bad rep for DQing people, but truthfully, we don't like doing it.
Nope, I got a gun pointed at me when I had to DQ someone, so I think that was valid.
Yeah.
You saw a gun fly up in the air out of a holster onto the ground, at least unloaded, but still.
Yeah.
Yep. So that was mine.
So I guess it was it 3 stages later?
Something like that, because I stayed in RO the whole day.
We were on a long range stage, and the long range stage started with a rooftop that you shot out to, I think we had it out to 400 yards or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I shoot the long range. I rifle, grab my shotgun, and there's like an L shooting area. And there was one spot that I had noticed earlier that you could run to, and you could hit all the clays without having to shoot them on the move.
Mm-hmm.
And potentially miss one because of the way the barrels were set up. So I run to that position and I shoot, and I finish, and I go and I finish with the pistol. I'm back at my truck and I'm putting stuff in the truck, and the match director comes over there and he goes, "Did you shoot all those clays from that one spot?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You broke 180. Oh. So we went out there and looked at it, and I was like, "Yeah, I was standing around here, and yep, that was yep." So I earned my first trip to DQ at Nationals.
You know, and don't we love our freaking friends? Because what did they do at the end of the day?
Larry the Texan.
Yeah, we had dinner at our favorite spot. We have a gift card.
It was gift cards for DQ.
So pissed. I was like, great. Oh Lord.
I was fine.
Do what?
I said I had ice cream. I was happy.
That was good. That was good. I still had $5 left over too, so I got to go another time. Yeah. Oh man. So yeah, that was your first. Was that your only so far?
That was my only.
Yeah. Same. Yep. Let's not do it again, shall we?
Not recommended. 0 stars.
No. So you've been competing in three-gun for a lot longer. What year did you start that? And like, you had the cool matches going on back in the day too.
Yeah. So I got my start in competitive shooting back in 2015.
Cool.
I started shooting steel challenge matches with a buddy. I've known this guy for probably 25 years now. He and I have done martial arts together for ages. His dad taught us, and and all this. And he talked him to go into shoot steel challenge. So I shot one match. I was instantly hooked.
It's addiction at first. Yep.
Yeah. So I shot steel challenge for like a year. Got really into that.
Mm-hmm.
then I started wanting to branch out and shoot some other things. So I shot a little bit of IDPA.
Okay.
I wasn't super enthralled with that. No. Shot some USPSA, really enjoyed that. And Kevin and I were talking one day, and he goes, "What I really want to try is that 3-gun stuff. But man, that's expensive. I don't know that I can do that." And well, I've got a good job. I make decent money.
Mm-hmm.
So I started buying parts on the DL to build a rifle.
Okay.
So I built a rifle and made the same mistake a lot of first time, entry level shooters made. Went and bought a JM Pro. Yeah. And in November of 2016, I shot my first 3-gun match.
With that shotgun?
Yep.
Okay. How'd that go?
I shot it with a JM Pro, with the AR that I built, and with a Springfield XDM 9mm.
Okay. All right.
And had a blast.
Mm-hmm.
So another one of my good friends, a lot of people out there, especially some of the Indiana guys will know him. His name's Kenny Stapleton. He lives just a couple of miles down the road from me, and he's been shooting forever. And he was actually the RO, and it was a dumpster fire. I'm not trying to put shells in this shotgun, and the lift gate's not dropping, and I can't figure out why. And finally, he goes, "Close the bolt." But it was stuff like that the entire match, but we had a blast.
I say to demo that, so you can't put shells in when the bolts.
It don't work.
That will unlock it. Solid. Oh, that's good.
To back up there just a little bit, if you've got one of the lightning loaders from MOA Precision, you can load like that.
MOA, that was like the first company I found for shotgun work, and he had like disappeared for a little bit right when I needed him. Their work is phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, he had some issues he had to deal with, but as far as I know, he's back up and doing his thing now, so that's good.
He's good. Yeah, good people to have a shotgun work done for sure.
But yeah, November 2016 was the first match that I shot, and from then on out, I was 100% 3-gun.
Yeah. And you mentioned a good point. Yeah, the rich people in your life are going to be shooting 3-gun, but they're not all like that. I mean, you can bootstrap, you can show up what you got, but it's a little bit more pricey.
Yeah, but I mean, with me, so at the time, I was still a relatively new gun owner. All I had was 2 Springfield XDMs. I had a 45 and a 9mm. The 9mm I bought to shoot Steel Challenge with.
Oh, okay.
That was the only 2 guns I owned.
So, and you didn't have you did have to have a holster for Steel Challenge. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you were already set up. Okay.
Center fire you do. With the rim fire, you can start it ready, but with the center fire, you got to go from the holster.
So you never even shot 22. Like the whole purpose of Steel Challenge. Nice.
Until later on, I bought a Smith & Wesson M&P 1522.
Yeah.
Just to shoot with Steel Challenge, and I still love to shoot that gun.
Is that the one that also didn't run for me?
Did you even shoot that one?
I think so.
Shoot that little Ruger 2245.
I have no idea.
I don't remember if you shot the rifle or not.
I have no idea anymore. Guns don't work for me.
It wouldn't surprise me if it didn't.
I know.
I've probably shot 30,000 rounds through that gun and never had a problem. You shoot it one time and it just falls.
I think it was the last stage when I was shooting pistol, and I borrowed someone else's, it didn't run, and then I borrowed yours, and it was a mag issue, and then I did a second mag, and I tried again, and I was like, I'm out, and then I'm a spectator. 22 matches in January are a dumb idea. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. So I digress. So yeah, 2016, you went full throttle. When did you actually start to RO matches?
So it was probably, I did a little bit of local RO, and everybody does when you're at a club match, you kind of have to rotate out.
Yeah.
So I kind of learned the ropes doing that. The first major that I RO'd was 3-Gun Nation Southeast Regional at Frostproof.
Okay.
It was 2018, I think.
Okay.
I had went the prior year up to Indiana to shoot one of the Indiana Multi-Gun Series matches. because I got a lot of friends up there anyway, and I go hang out with them all the time. Well, that's where I met Tobin Babcock.
Oh.
Was at that match, and he and I become, pretty fast friends. And he was in, deep with Three Gun Nation.
Yeah.
So, he called me one day and asked me if I was interested in doing that. He said, I feel like you would be good at it. I don't trust a lot of people to do that stuff, but I do trust you.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we did a Three Gun Nation RO class.
Okay.
It was done online. And after that, I went and RO'd that match. I just started ROing all the time after that.
Yeah. Why? Are you just masochist or,
So, like I said a minute ago when I was talking about the local matches, these things are volunteer sports. If we don't give back and we don't take the time to RO matches and help with setup or help with tear down or try to get people to come to the range, if we don't do these things, then the matches die.
100%.
And we lose our sport.
Yeah.
So it's 100% out of love of the sport. Yes, you get to shoot the match for free, but I'm here to tell you, you're better off. If that's your motivation, you're better off just paying for the match.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what do you want to say to those shooters who at the very end of the match in the final stage just start disappearing?
Oh, folks, you got to reset.
I mean, it's one more stage. It's like
one more stage,
3 more minutes.
I know you're beat. I've been there for 3 days.
Mm-hmm. It kills me whenever I'm like the DFL, because I'm always DFL, and I would help anyways. But I would rather have my belt off and help the rest of the reset, right? Like you guys take your belt off and then just peace out. And I'm like, what?
Yeah,
kills me.
So that year, I RO'd 2 Three Gun Nation regionals, a national. I RO'd Area 6 multi-gun, and I want to say there was one more, but I don't remember what it was.
Area 6 was still USPSA rules, though, is what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. So you had.
Since I'm not a USPSA RO, I couldn't be a CRO.
Right. Yeah.
I was, running tablet and doing that sort of thing.
Yeah. And for those listening, the NROI, or the National Range Officers Institute, has their own credentials for USPSA ROs. So you can get a RO certification, CRO. Three Gun Nation, like you said, had their own credential system. So each, and it's a good thing, like each discipline, even like, what is it, UML or all these other ones, are going to have their own rule sets. So important to know, I guess.
Well, it is important to know, especially if you're going to compete, because so three gunners, I'm not going to say we're lax on safety, but we're not over the top like some of the others can be.
Yeah.
And there are certain rules, especially if you go from your normal 3-gun rule sets like UML or what the 3-gun nation rule set was, or outlaw, or that type of stuff, and you go to a USPSA multi-gun match. There are things that you would do 100% of the time at one of those other matches that will get you sent home 100% of the time at a USPSA multi-gun match. Like taking your belt off will get you sent home.
And I don't have my belt with me, but like, it's so nice because when you have ELS and you have like this fork attached to your belt, you could literally, with the hood up, with your gun in it, fork it off and just set it aside. The gun's still in the holster. It's not doing anything wrong. We can't do that. 3-gun. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
those were things like when I RO a USPSA multi-gun match, those are things that I drill into the head of people that come to the stage every single time, because I don't want to send somebody home for something that I don't want to send somebody home for anything, but sometimes we have to.
Yeah. I mean, and I think, and maybe this is just my personal opinion, but sometimes like putting the fear of God into people to be afraid of a gun if it's outside of a holster or off the belt in a holster is not a good thing, right? I mean, we want people to respect firearms 100%, but if we're going to heighten the level of fear that people have, it makes me more uncomfortable to touch my gun. Then I don't know.
Yeah, I can set my pistol down on this table, loaded, and I promise you, it's not going to kill anybody.
Yeah,
it's not going to jump up and just start, randomly shooting.
Mine would actually just sit there and break. I shut it down.
The only thing you would hear is
that would happen to me. Oh my God. Oh, and speaking of which, okay, so division wise, so you had the JM Pro.
mm-hmm.
You were in TAC Ops first,
Yep.
right? And then you moved into open. And then how much fun was that getting that shotgun to run?
So I've shot TAC Ops for years. The only reason that I went to open in the first place was because of a guy named Kim Peterson.
I love him.
So Kim and I are big buddies. We've been friends forever now. And I picked him up from the airport for the last year of the Rock Castle Pro-Am.
Okay.
And we roomed together, and the entire weekend he rode me. You need to shoot open. You need to shoot open. It's so much fun. You need to shoot open. So I started thinking about it, and then we signed up for the Microtech Pro-Am.
Mm-hmm.
Donnie Flo did.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, you need to shoot open so we can team up. I thought about it, like, all right. So the first thing I did was I called Adam Nielsen over at Atlas Gunworks about getting a dot ready pistol.
Yep.
So I got that ball rolling. And I talked to a buddy of mine who's a local shooter here. He just bought a Dissident Arms shotgun.
Heck
so
yeah.
he had his R&R Targets Sega 12, which is another box fed shotgun. So I asked him if I could borrow it. He's like,
Which one? Which one?
The Sega.
Oh, you should have asked for the Dissident.
He's shooting his Dissident.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
So he gave me that gun. I ended up buying that gun.
Nice.
But the first 3 locals that I shot in open, I won 2 of them.
Oh, nice.
Another one of the local guys that used to be a match director here, Steve Harmon.
Yeah.
We finished a match and he looked at me and he goes, I think you were born to shoot open.
Oh. So you ran the best pistol too. And shotgun changes the game. Shotguns where you lose all of the time.
Yep.
So yeah. Huge
okay. And when you run competition shotguns, it doesn't matter if it's a tube gun that you're running in TAC Ops, or if it's a box fed shotgun you're shooting in open or whatever. Shotguns are the most finicky things in the world.
Yeah.
And sometimes they run, sometimes they don't, and nobody knows why.
I still question that every day. They don't love me back.
Some days it'll run 100%, no problems.
Yeah.
Other days it won't run for anything. And that's the reason that I ended up getting one of these little bad boys.
There we go. Case gauger.
Yes, case gauge for my shotgun shells. So I case gauge every round I put in my magazine before I put it in the mag. Like when I'm at a stage loading the magazine, I case gauge them right there.
Nice.
And that was a trick that I picked up from Josh Fraley.
Yeah, and for non-procrastinators, you should do that before you leave for a match, and then it's easier.
No.
No?
No.
Oh, because it could change. Okay.
Temperature differences can cause the holes to be softer or expand.
That's a pro tip. Put them in a cooler.
Put them in a cooler. Yep.
Yeah. I have seen guys do that.
It's going to be over 80 degrees, put them in a cooler.
Yeah. And that's pretty much every single outdoor match.
Yeah.
That we shoot.
Yeah. And I ran into that exact problem this past weekend at Oak Ridge.
And
it was just bunching up the ends of the holes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fun.
Sometimes I could push it into battery, sometimes I couldn't. So, and it wasn't just my guns. I borrowed Jim's Dissonant, did the same thing.
Yeah.
It was just the holes were expanding.
So annoying. So what do you love about the different divisions? Or do you ever miss TAC Ops, or are you just done?
I do. I'm not gonna lie, I do. I'm not gonna lie. I'm checked out on quad load. I would much rather just chuck that mag in, and there I've got 20 rounds or 12 rounds or however big the mag is. Sitting here and doing this.
Or this.
Yeah. So funny story on that. So when I started, I started in TAC Ops. I was loading strong hand like that.
Okay.
roll the shotgun up on my shoulder, and I would load them this way. So,
yeah, was viewing it off.
I was at Fort Benning. Was it 2018, I think.
Okay.
And I had just gotten a new shotgun.
New tube fed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like literally, I had got the gun like 2 weeks before this match.
Did we test it?
We tested it, yeah.
Okay.
But as you're well aware, when you take a gun and test it, it could run perfect. And as soon as you take it to a match, it's going to crap.
It smells the fear.
It does, yeah. If a gun is going to fail, it will fail at a match. It will never fail in practice. It'll always fail under pressure.
Yep.
So apparently the first round of these that they imported, there was an issue with one of the components in the firing control group.
Mm-hmm.
They call it the dog leg. And what it does is it causes the lifter to kick up.
Ah.
Well, it was a design that they had used overseas to prevent you from being able to ghost load guns because
gotcha. Yeah.
Well, it was causing issues here. You would fire a few rounds and the lifter would lock up and lock the bolt back. So they had a stage at Fort Benning that year. It was the John Wick stage. John Wick had just come out. And it was so much fun. Like you started it with a pencil.
Yes, John Wick with a pencil. Yes.
It's actually a ground state, but you started with that, and they had a dummy there that you started with one round in your pistol at the chest, and you hit it and shot it, and it fell back. And then you had to go down and shoot the rest of the stage. And the stage ended, they had actually constructed an SUV out of plywood. And you run up on top of that SUV and you shot shotgun targets off of the hood of the SUV. So I run up there and I start shooting and it locks back.
Ooh.
So I stick my thumb in it and push the
lifter down.
And as soon as that lifter,
the bolt goes forward.
It sent the bolt home and the extractor caught me in the edge of the thumb and just run down my thumb.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea.
I've done that on the side of my thumb, but not as bad. Oh my God.
When I finished and I unloaded, showed clear, the RO goes, "Dude, you're bleeding." Like, what? And I looked down and there's just blood dripping off.
Oh yeah.
It's all over my shotgun.
Yep.
But that was like, we still had like 3 stages left in the match.
Gotta finish.
Yeah, gotta finish. And that was my strong hand. That was the hand I loaded with.
Okay, this is the story.
Yeah, this is how we're getting to this. So in the middle of the match, I go to my truck, I flip my caddies around. I loaded weak hand, first time ever on the clock at a major.
Don't do that, kiddos.
Yeah, pro tip, don't do that.
Don't do that. Jesus.
It's actually worked out really well. And ever since then, when I shoot tac ops, I always weekend load.
Okay. And teach your own. I mean, for sure. For me, I've got a massive barrel, massive tube, and like strong hand, and it changed because it's so easy to DQ too when you're in a jungle run and you're doing, weekend, and the best pros out there, they can do both and have their caddies set up to do both. Yep. But yeah, I actually try to do. I remember my first time. I've been training from going from weekend to strong hand, training, dry fire. I mean, I have dummy rounds, love shotgun. And the very first time of the pro-am, I immediately went and grabbed weekend, and then they're opposite shell side, and I was like, cool, and then like dropped all 4 of those, all 4, and I was like, shit. And then I ran out of shotgun rounds, so I was like, well, that was the 4 I needed, so take more than you need and don't be an asshole. So that was me. And you hear me in the video like saying like, oh, yeah.
So that same year at Benton, we had an all shotgun stage.
Okay.
And the very end of the stage come down and you had a horizontal shooting area, you had to go to both sides of it.
Okay.
And on each side you had I want to say there were 7 knockovers and 1 flying clay.
Cool.
So I come to the left side and I shoot bang, 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 shoot the clay, and I flip over to load as I'm going to the other side, and I see the plunger.
Oof.
I'm out of ammo.
Mm-hmm.
I have 8 rounds on my belt for 9 targets. I'm sorry, 10 targets. 8 rounds for 10 targets. So I load everything I've got in the tube, and I get to the other side, and I hit the popper in the clay, and I start shooting. I see one where I could get a double. So I got a double. I had 1 plate standing. I'm out of ammo. I'm standing here, and RO's telling me to unload, show clear. I look down. There's a round on the ground. The guy before me jacked out and left.
Don't do this either, but go ahead.
So I reached down, grabbed it, dropped it in the gun, and shot the other target.
What if it had been a slug?
There was no slugs on that stage.
Okay, fine. But what if?
It was a calculated risk.
Jesus, this is like the episode of what not to do, honestly, between both of us. Oh, God, that's funny. So, did you ever shoot the Fort Benning match when it had the boat?
Yeah, that was the first year I shot it.
That is what wanted me to shoot, or what made me want to shoot 3 guns.
2017.
Yeah, and I'm pissed that I got in too late. So I did 2019.
That was the second major I ever shot.
That is the coolest major probably in the whole entire. That's the stage.
And this is one of the things that I absolutely love about this sport. My second match ever, one of my squad mates was Jerry Mishley.
Yeah.
Name one other sport where you can go shoot with the pros.
I know. And I've been interviewing other people on the other podcast, and they're like, Jerry shot with me. Jerry's so cool. And it's like fanboy moment. I'm like, yeah, like it's legit. And seeing him do, by the way, the shotgun tubes, that's what you could do is the tube loading with the tube. What are those things called?
Speed loaders.
Just speed loaders. Okay.
Yeah, our doctor makes them.
There you go. Yeah, that's awesome. So your favorite match ever, what would you say that was it, or you have another favorite?
That probably was. Yeah, that year definitely. Yeah. Year over year, I don't know, but for just one time off, that match was fantastic. It was so much fun. You know, that was the year they had the Star Wars stage where you shot long range off the speeder.
Not fair. It's literally, I was watching those videos and I saw Derek Giddings shoot it, John Rasmussen shoot it, like all the HK guys, and I saw the boat and I was like, dude, like it just looks so cool. And I remember, I would never do it probably, but the Hard as Hell Texas had it where you're like over the lake trying to like shoot clays in the air. I'm like, that's too much. But that looked fun. Great. What do you think was like the toughest match you've ever shot?
Singling out one is hard.
Yeah.
So I will blanket this by saying any match that Bruce Davidson has his hands in.
Just waiting for that.
if he's got his grimy little fingers in it, it's going to be a tough match, and I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the Blue Line event's coming up. I don't know when this episode will air, but that's gonna be a fun match. That's gonna be my first Bruce match ever.
Second weekend of June.
Yeah, but I have no idea what to expect. I've seen videos, but it's not the same.
One of the funniest things I have ever heard from another RO at the first year we did the Blue Line match. Todd Manger.
Don't know.
Okay, so you will.
Okay.
So we had a stage there that was called the North Hollywood Shootout.
Okay.
And it was based off of the actual North Hollywood shootout that happened, the bank robbery.
Yeah.
So they actually, you had two steel targets that were basically man-sized targets to represent the shooters at the top. And you had this area that was almost horseshoe-like.
Okay.
It was probably 100 yards long. And Bruce had actually went online and found aerial photos of the actual bank where this happened and set the cars up. We had, I think there were 9 cars.
Perfect locations.
Yeah, and they were set up just like they were the day of the robbery.
Oh my God.
So when the ROs shot it, originally Bruce has this bad tendency of overdoing it.
No, never.
It's almost inevitable.
Never.
That during the RO shoot, we'll have to reshoot at least one stage.
Oh.
Cut stuff out of it because nobody can make it through the stage.
Before timing out, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was one of those stages. So originally, your rifle was staged off to the side, your shotgun was slung, and your your pistol was holstered. You started with your pistol, and you had to pick 2 positions off of each card.
Huh.
Shoot. You had to go all the way around, and then you had to empty your pistol, go to your shotgun, and do the same thing with the shotgun coming back. Then dump the shotgun and go to the rifle and do the same thing.
Jesus.
So everybody was timing out.
Oh yeah.
And when I came up to shoot, they were like, well, if anybody's going to make it through this, he's going to. I didn't make it to the rifle. I made it to the I was just finishing the shotgun to go to the rifle, and I timed out.
It's like 5 minutes, right?
5 minutes. And I'll never forget this. I thought I was going to drop over. I mean, I was huffing and puffing and barely moving. When I timed out, I had to set my shotgun down and put my hands up and put my head on the side of one of those cars for me to catch my breath. And Todd Banker looks at me and he says, I saw your soul leave your body. Bruce comes over and we're talking about it. And he's like, this is a 2-gun stage.
Yep.
Said, yeah.
You think?
So he talks it over for a minute and he decides he's going to cut half the engagements out of it. So instead of picking 2 positions off every car, you just have to do 1 position off every car.
Okay.
Well, then he offers me the chance to reshoot it. I was like, depends. When? Do I have to reshoot it right now? Because if that's the answer, no.
No, I need about a half hour.
He actually let me reshoot it the next day.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
awesome. Did he ever proof the stages, or he lets ROs figure it out?
Pretty much. I mean, he shoots with us, but
2-gun stage. Got it. No, Bruce. So overall, what are your favorite type stages?
Natural terrain, hands down.
Oh, that was fast. You knew.
Yeah, that's not even a question. I mean, base stuff can be fun.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to really shoot base stuff, I just want to shoot USPSA.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I want to have a stage where it's all 3 guns, like with terrain. Yeah.
Base stuff is you get your best performance on base style stages with knowing your footwork really well, getting all the technicalities down. Natural terrain stages are more about surviving. I mean, there's some technicality and stuff to that too, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's easy to run past targets or miss targets because some people like to really hide stuff. But overall, I feel like that natural terrain stages give you a more overall picture of a shooter, because there's so much more that you have to deal with.
Yeah, and it's a lot going on, and I think it's
a lot going on. Stages are usually longer.
Yeah, I get mad when I go to 3-gun and I have the all pistol stage, and I'm like, damn it.
Yeah,
it's my worst. Or I love the all shotgun stages. The one at Pro-Am was fun. I mean, I did okay. I finished it clean, but it hurt.
So here's my opinion on that, and you can agree with me or not. If you can make it your own, whatever. If you go to a multi-gun match or a 3-gun match, if you have an all pistol stage, then you need to have an all shotgun stage and you need to have an all rifle stage.
Yep.
Because
it plays to people's strengths. Yeah.
If you can't have all 3 of those,
it's not fair.
Have a single gun stage.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. I agree. And I don't think I've ever, I did have the all rifle was the shoot house at Fort Benning. I remember that one. No, it had pistol in it. Shoot, it had pistol in it. But they did have an all rifle one where you had to open the little doors and then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I loved that shoot house.
Typically, they do that at Benton. You'll have an all pistol stage, you'll have an all rifle stage, and you'll have an all shotgun stage.
Yeah, and they made that all shotgun stage really freaking easy, won't you say? 2019.
I don't remember.
Oh my God, that's the one that had the thing that moved. So you shot
the slugs off the swinging bridge.
Yeah, what the hell? What the hell? This was insane. And then the clay's off the swinging belt. The what is it called? Double pair. What is that called?
Double pair.
As soon as you shoot one, they launch the other.
Oh, a rapport.
Thank you. Yeah. Anyways, I digress. So shooting 3-gun, there's a ton of gear. ton of gear. So thinking about, like you said, starting off with an XD, JM, whatever. What did you run, like, not just then, like running that back then and then seeing it change over time? Did you get the fundamentals down with those first guns and then get to pick out like what you wanted? And did that change like your love of it a little bit more?
Well, I mean, anytime that you get new gear, it's kind of that positive feedback thing. It's you buy new gear, you get the dopamine release, and you're all happy you got new shiny gear. I don't know that it makes you like it anymore. I mean, there's some guns obviously that you're gonna be more comfortable shooting. You're gonna enjoy shooting more. But like I tell everybody else, you don't have to have race gear to come out and shoot a match. Just get what you got. If you don't have guns, come out anyway. Somebody will loan you guns.
Yeah. Especially if, I mean, a lot of people find this daunting, but if you're listening, like, you don't know anybody, period. You don't need somebody to get in. I promise you, if you show up, we're going to want to equip you and give you all of the things.
Oh, people will fight.
Yeah. 100%.
So, like we were talking about earlier, I shoot open now.
Mm-hmm.
I still almost all the time, I carry a tube-fed shotgun and caddies with me.
Yeah.
In case somebody wants to shoot.
So I like I shot a super secret match, and I love these rules where you could help out people like when something goes down. Favorite freaking match. So I want to go to only those. Here's why: because I break everything except my pistol. But anyways, the shotgun is not working, and I'm like getting really frustrated. I took my knife out and trying to get it off the lifter, and it's just not working. I'm like, all these shotgun shells. So I go to like dump it, and then I can't remember his name. Greatest nice gentleman hands me the open shotgun because he was like next or coming up with the mag, the drum mag. And I just went to town, and I'm like, yes, didn't bump me to open. It was like, hey, I'm already behind. Definitely was like the last one, timed out of the whole stage, but I got to run something. So there's those matches where, what are they called? Like helping matches or something like that.
But the thing, it has to be organic helping. It can't be staged.
Oh yeah, it was not planned. It was like on the back of his truck bed, and we were yelling, and he didn't even hear us. Yeah, because the cheating part is like when people follow you with spare ammo.
So, Bruce is known for those kind of matches. I've got a story about that too. The first year that I shot Rock Hard, which was the match that he used to do at Rock Castle.
Mm-hmm.
Hard as hell match, same type of thing. Big, long 5-minute stages, lots of targets to shoot. He had a stage. It was the first year we did it. It was called Traffic Jam. And this became kind of an icon stage. And you had 4 cars that were butted up against each other.
Okay.
So you started with your shotgun. And every time that you picked up a gun, you had to flip a tractor tire. So Mike Dale is running the timer.
Uh-huh.
And timer goes off. So I run up, and I'm shooting with all the Michigan boys, the Michigan Mafia, and all those guys.
Love it.
So I run up, I grab that tire, and I flip that tire. And when I flipped that tire, the clasp on my chest rig broke. It fell off. So all of my shotgun ammo has hit the ground. So I grabbed the shotgun. It's loaded with 9 to start with because you had this weird array that he called beat the bird you had to shoot. Okay. So you shot 2 poppers with bird shot. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. You shot 2 poppers with buck,
okay.
2 slugs at static steels, and then the birds that the poppers knocked down. And then you had 1 more knockover, so it was 9 rounds, and the gun was empty. Mm-hmm. Well, as I'm shooting that, I hear a voice behind me go, "I got you." Josh Tarrant has grabbed my chest rig.
Oh.
He walks beside me the entire shotgun portion with that chest rig on his arm like a butler.
Do you have a video of this?
I do. And I'm reaching over and I'm grabbing shells. And there's one point I reach over to grab shells, and he's got 2 in his hand like this. I just kind of reached the gun over like that, and he just pushed them in the gun.
That is awesome. That's awesome.
But yeah, those kind of matches are my favorite too. I love them.
Yeah, that was my first time shooting. I was like, why aren't all matches like this?
Yeah.
Oh, those are so much fun. So, okay, with all of that gear, all that stuff, is there like one piece of gear or one tool that like you can't go to match without that
Oh yeah,
you love?
I think 60.
There we go. No one's had an instant answer for that yet. That was awesome.
They're legal in tac ops, they're legal in open. And why would you reload a shot or a rifle if you don't have to?
100%. 100%. And I finally gave it back to you too.
You did. I actually forgot you had it, to be honest.
I forgot I had it. I was like, this is not mine. Thank God you had the sticker on it. Those are like $120 now. I'm like,
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was a quick answer. What do you, going back to the RO stuff, what do you wish, or what is something that you wish that competitors knew about ROs?
Well, I think we kind of touched on it a little while ago. ROs don't want to DQ people.
Yeah.
We don't want to give you a procedural. We don't want to yell at you for, doing something that's, possibly not safe. But, we have to do those things.
Yeah.
If there's something about a stage that's dumb, we still have to do it. The match director set it up, the range master set it up. We're just there enforcing their decisions.
Yeah.
For myself personally, I never want to see a shooter have a bad time on stage. I want to see everybody that goes through my stage crush it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, when I watch people stuff jam or not run, I mean, it doesn't matter who it is. We're all like, and like, you'll hear me if I'm filming you and something happens, I'm like, like I can't.
Yeah.
It kills.
And, you have to realize, that we're out there, 2-day match. We're out there from, 7 a.m., 6:30, something like that, till the last shooter rolls through. We're out there all day long. And of course, it's always 1,000 degrees.
And raining.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, either or both.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, I mean, it can be rough, but I love doing it.
It's worth it. It's a lot of fun. And I don't know how, but somehow at the end of that too, we find time to go eat and go drink and smoke a cigar. And I mean, it takes me days to recover coming back from a major match.
Oh, yeah. So be nice to your ROs. They have a rough time.
And most often we have to shoot the whole match faster. We do a lot shittier, honestly.
Over the years, I have figured out it's about 10 to 15% decrease in performance.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Too much going on, and we're trying to RO each other too, and you're not focused on your game. Yeah.
Yep, you shoot the whole thing in one day. You don't get to focus on building your stage plans as much as you would otherwise.
Yeah. It's good. It's a community for sure. Too small of a community. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So what is the dumbest thing you've ever seen a competitor do though?
This was one of those situations where I had to DQ the guy.
Okay.
We roll back to blue line, first year blue line.
Mm-hmm.
Same stage that Todd Manker saw my soul leave my body on. This guy decides that the way so most people started like in the middle on one side with the pistol and went all the way to the top. So they finished at the top.
Nice. So
they could holster and then go to the shotgun and move back. Well, this guy made some weird plan. And he started at the very bottom and he was going to come all the way up and then back down.
Okay.
So, I'm running the timer. He goes all the way to the top. When he goes to come back, he basically does a pirouette. And the muzzle goes right across my line of sight. Like I can see the crown on the muzzle as it goes past my eye.
Jesus.
And he come back around to come up and shoot, and I stopped him. And I mean, so when you're running a stage like that, it's super, super physical. And like I said, this was about 100 yards. It's all uphill.
Yeah.
So, you're gassed. When you're sucking wind like that and your heart's pumping and the adrenaline's dumped and all that, you start getting tunnel vision. Your brain doesn't work as fast as it normally does. And the guy never realized he did it. He comes up to shoot, and I yell, stop, and he looks at me and he goes, what did I do? I was like, well, I can tell
You're
that
what?
I can tell you're shooting jacketed hollow point bullets because I saw it down the barrel.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Not fun.
No, it was not fun at all.
Mm.
And I
No.
mean, I hated to do it again. I don't like to DQ people, but that's one of those situations where you have to.
Yeah.
I understood. He knew what he did, and it was all good. There was no drama over it or anything like that.
Yeah. And my least favorite thing, I mean, is like the wall stages. And I love the walls that are like the see-through material, whatever, where you don't screw up the RO. Because if it's like black, like I've seen that black walls and you're going through and you don't know if they're going to back up or come back to a target or, I mean, it puts the ROs in a trap. And match directors aren't like trying to do that. And the other struggle too is like when you have to be on someone's butt ROing like PCC or even like 22 matches, because you have to get real close to that muzzle, that shooter. Yeah. It just is, it's part of the game.
Yeah, and a common mistake that new ROs make is they feel like they have to be on top of the shooter.
With the higher caliber stuff. Yeah, absolutely not.
So I have found that regardless of whether it's a PCC or a 22 or whatever, the only time that I have to be on top of you is your last shot.
At the end, that's what I mean. But yeah, if they were coming back out of target and I didn't know about it, right? Or that's where I get worried. Like that's happened, but yeah.
I mean, I see people all the time, especially at local matches. I've never really done it before. They're right on top of it.
Yeah. Beep them, get out of the way, hang out, pick up last shots. Yeah. And watch the dang timer. So that's a pro tip is like if you're the RO and you're timing and you're looking at it, I don't know, it wasn't you. Was it Greg? He had like light loads and then he would have these hot loads like while he was shooting. Yeah. And I would watch and I'm like, and then finally like a hot load pick it up. I'm like, thank God. I don't know what's happening. But oh man. So okay, you shoot USPSA a little bit too, right? What all divisions have you shot?
I shoot mostly local matches in USPSA. I don't really shoot a lot of majors.
Yeah.
So I've shot limited, I've shot carry optics, I've shot open, I've shot PCC.
Cool. What's your favorite?
I've been kind of digging the carry optics thing, but with the new rule changes, I don't know how much that I'm going to continue to enjoy it because you're back in a gear race again.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to go to open.
Open major?
Yeah.
Open minor?
Open minor is dumb.
I know. No, I've seen you do it.
Yeah, it's dumb. You're a competitive disadvantage.
Oh, God, I love it.
That's one of the reasons that I like to carry optics because you can still use a dot, but everybody's fine.
Even scoring playing field. Yeah. And you shoot a lot with your brother, your family.
I do.
How much fun is that?
Oh, it's fantastic. So I'm the reason that he has this sickness.
I know. Malin said the same thing. I'm like, sorry, not sorry.
So I've got two brothers. Both of them are quite a bit older than I am. Dave just turned 55. He's the middle brother. I turned 43 this year. He's 12 years older than I am.
Yeah.
So, and we were never really close. None of us, between me and the other two, because there was such an age gap.
Yeah.
We were never really close. When our dad passed away, then we kind of started getting close. And Dave and I started talking a lot more. And a couple of years ago, we decided that because my birthday falls right before July 4th, that, we could get extra vacation time. We could take a week off work and still only burn like 3 days of vacation time.
Right.
So we were going to go do something. So we went to Kentucky that year and did the Bourbon Trail.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it was so much fun. And then we stopped at Rock Castle on the way back. That was when David Power was opening Cave Mountain Clays.
Oh, cool. Love him.
Clays there.
Yeah.
And then we came back and there was a USPSA match at TAC 2 that weekend over in Greenville. So we went to that. It was the first time he'd ever been to a match.
Uh-oh.
He shot one of my pistols and he had a fantastic time. And he went home and just went buck wild. Bought guns, bought PCCs, bought, all this stuff. And down there, you can shoot a match almost every day if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting that way. I mean, maybe not during the week. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So last year I went down there for my birthday, and we did nothing but shoot guns, drink bourbon, and float in the pool and smoke cigars. In 7 days, we shot 6 matches.
Oh, that's awesome. Are y'all both competitive, or y'all? I mean, I know you. You're just like having fun, but do y'all have that competitive edge together?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Who beats who usually?
Well, most of the time, he comes out on top by not much because he's shooting a PCC.
It counts.
I'm shooting a pistol.
Oh, okay. Well, unfair divisions. Unfair divisions.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I mean, I'm not taking anything away from him. He's come a long way, and he's turned into a really good shooter. He was solid last year.
That's awesome. So, now I want to ask all the shooters this, because I want to see if, other people out there listening might identify with this, right? So we all come from different backgrounds. You would look at someone and you wouldn't really think of them as a shooter. So what do you do for a living? Like, what's your everyday job?
I'm a nerd. I'm a yeah. I'm the IT director. I'm sorry, IT manager for a medium-sized company that's got offices in 7 states. So my day-to-day is managing data center infrastructure and database programming and things of that nature.
So cool. So does everyone at your office just think you're the security guy?
Oh yeah. Even before I started shooting, that was the case.
Yeah.
Because before I went to work there, I ran a martial arts school. So
that's awesome. How important is it for people to maybe like have that hand-to-hand combat experience or something like that?
I think everybody should have it. I mean, obviously, to shoot matches, you don't need that kind of stuff.
No, but I mean for everyday life.
I think everybody should have at least a familiarity.
Yeah.
With some kind of self-defense.
I like it.
For children, I think every child should take martial arts in some form, because it's great it's great character building. It's great, self-confidence building. It's wonderful. So, and I've seen a lot of
beat up other little kids.
What?
You got to beat up other little kids.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many kids I saw come through my school that were different kids within 6 months. The level of confidence that they built up, and they became more outgoing and better health, and all of these things that they just weren't before.
Yeah. That's awesome. Everyone should do that, young and old.
Absolutely.
I need experience.
Yep. Everybody should know how to punch people in the throat.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. So I guess wrapping everything up and going back to all this shooting stuff, if you could tell yourself something to do early on in shooting when you were first getting started, what would it have been?
Slow down and take a class from somebody that knows what they're doing. I mean, that's it sounds basic, but I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah.
There's so many little things that you don't know that you don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
and yes, you're going to spend $400 or $500 on a good class.
Yep.
But you're going to get that investment back tenfold in knowledge that you didn't know that you didn't have.
Yeah. I mean, and knowing where you're at on a shooting level too, right? I mean, there are some classes where you probably shouldn't take that if you're a beginner.
Right.
Get a little experience, maybe take a beginner course, intermediate, whatever. I mean, you saw the class I just signed up for in August with Travis Tomasi. He's about to kick my ass for sure in the learning curve, because I've taken a Joel Turner class. I'm going to take his, hopefully. Like, I want to take a JJ class, and I want to take a Christian class one day. Like, I want to do all the things, because there's something to learn from everyone too.
Right.
Yeah. And they're all on an elite level. They just,
they all have different styles.
Yeah. And you can figure out what works for you, because we're not all the same too, but I'm so excited to get educated.
I mean, and that's a good point too, because when you first start shooting and you're taking your basic pistol classes and that sort of thing, you're taught that there's certain ways that you're supposed to stand and you're supposed to hold the gun, and in reality it doesn't work that way.
No. Mm-mm.
I have seen people that hold a gun that, by all of those rules, they're holding that gun wrong, but they can outshoot anybody
Yep. My buddy Jack always puts his finger over the trigger guard, no pressure or anything to pull left or right. But it's so weird because you would think that would do that. And I think Lena does too.
It does. Jerry used to do it. I don't know if he still does or not.
Yeah. So we try and teach you the grip. The whole point, I think, on instructing though, is that we're trying to teach you to get as high up on the gun as possible, right? Like you can move your fingers around, but that's like where the gaps are in the back strap, or even with both hands, you don't want them separate from the gun. But as you learn, there's other places. Yeah. That's awesome. How many classes have you taken, Rob?
I've taken 2.
Okay. What were they?
One, actually, both of them have been by my buddy Joe Farewell.
Oh, okay, cool.
I've taken his level 2 3-gun course, and I've done his dry fire course. And he's
online.
Actually, yeah.
Okay.
Well, the second one was online, yeah. And he's actually helped me with some other. So we did a remote deal.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, where I would send him match footage, and he would analyze that footage and say, "Okay, you need to do these drills because you're doing this."
Right. Yep. Yeah, that's awesome. So go get educated. That's actually something that I was going to ask you on the question. Like, if you could recommend a class or something to do, yeah, go get education.
Yeah. And the other important part of that too is you can take all the classes you want to. You can spend all the money on classes you want to spend. If you don't take the knowledge that you get from those classes and bring it back and actually practice it, you've wasted your money and your time.
Did you see what my friend wrote on my status? She goes, maybe you'll actually retain that information and apply it and continue to use it, because she took his class and didn't do anything with it. I was like, come on. Yeah.
So I say the same thing in shooting that I always told people in martial arts. There's 3 secrets to success: practice, practice, and practice.
Dang it.
I know nobody wants to hear it.
I was hoping one of those would change, like consistency and I don't know, something else. Yeah. So cool. Any final nuggets that you want to leave people with?
Like, just like we said before, if you've never shot a match before, don't let it scare you. Come out. People are super friendly. This is one of those sports that tends to weed out bad apples.
Yeah.
They don't tend to stick around a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just come on out, tell everybody it's your first time out, and people will help you.
100%.
So don't be afraid of it.
Love it. So how do people find you on social media and connect with you if they have questions or want to reach out?
So you can find me on Facebook at Rob Hall. My Instagram handle is Rob Hall Shooting, and my YouTube channel. So when I started the YouTube channel was years ago, before I ever started shooting. So
okay.
The handle's a little weird. It's Huafist01.
You're gonna have to spell that.
Yeah. HUAFIST01.
Oh my word.
It was a martial arts thing.
I was figuring it was that. Cool. Awesome. I love it. Do you have any shout outs for your sponsors, gear, guns, or anything like that?
Oh, I do, because without them, I couldn't do a lot of the things that I do.
Yeah.
Of course, Adam over at Atlas Gun Works, he helps me out a ton. JP Enterprises, they build fantastic rifles. Vortex helps me a ton. Spark Munitions, this year ammo is hard to find, and they have been doing a fantastic job of keeping ammo for people to get. Still pricey, but I mean, it's there.
Yeah.
Brass Monkey Bullets is one of my newest ones.
Cool.
Jason Pratt out of Kingsport here, he hooks me up on bullets.
And he hand makes those, coats those, or whatever, right?
He does. Yep, he does. He casts and coats them in house.
Cool.
Wicked Fast. They import the Easy Load caddies. Mark Takosic, great guy. ROs lots of matches. Match directs some matches in Indiana. Great for the sport. If you're a TAC ops person looking for caddies, reach out to Mark. He got the best on the market. And of course, Red Hill Tactical. They help me with holsters and whatnot.
Awesome.
Those guys are the guys that keep me shooting. I can't thank them enough.
Love it. Love it. Rob, thanks for all you do for the sport. Thanks for helping me with all of my shit show. No, you've been awesome. Like you said, TAC 2, we've got Orsa Gun Club up in Tennessee. Reach out to me or Rob, and we will get you set up. Come shoot. Oh man. Rob, thanks for being on the podcast. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we'll see you next week.
All right.
Thanks for listening to the Reticle Up podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Follow along on social media at Reticle Up or 3 Gun Kenzie.